So here's our map that we've populated with some cities and landmarks. You know, the sea. We have some freshwater stuff happening here in the mountain range. Here is our overall state of the region, which is going to give us ideas for goals to accomplish throughout the course of the campaign. Each of the regions has its own thing going on to give it a little bit more flavor. And of course, if we wanted to, we could sprinkle in, you know, there's some cities, we could draw a road map. This is really just a very basic geographical and political map. Very slightly, if really only implied topographical, because this becomes kind of a waterfall, like a cascade coming down into this like scallop-shaped crater, like this scoop out going down to the sea. That's like exposing whatever bedrock or whatever else is here. And of course, water, you know, follows contours, follows the lay of the land, comes around, does its thing. Do we have major travel and trade routes? No, but that's something that we can definitely add. I found them crucial to understanding the nation powers and placement. Yeah, we can add highways and byways here. You know, we have the rivers, which seem an obvious choice in the sea, and we can make a network of roads, of highways, things like that, going between the cities. It'd be rather easy to do, really. So we build like a coastal highway coming around, and then there's maybe some sort of a bridge that's crossing the river here, comes down all the way through, maybe follows the river along, follows up. So really there's a peripheral like highway or trade route. You can go by water or by sea if you want as well in different areas. And then there's there's probably some internal stuff we could add, like there's a city here. You know, obviously a city would need to be built in a place where they have access to water, farmlands, other things like that, resources to gather and trade outside of the city for other supplies. But we could make another network of internal roads, though the placement of these cities was vital, as these are the major regional cities, that they were close to some sort of source of water or other way of being able to support a larger population. And that's why I choose to put my cities more along there. Now, for this main city, where are they getting their water? We could also just say wells. That's why we could also put a city right out here. They've just dug wells. Maybe there's a lot of the water is closer to the top. It's our world. We'll do what we do. And we'll have fun doing it too. Alright, so we have this as reference. And we need to conceptualize, right? We have 2 nights set aside to do something like this. What do we have to get done tonight? Have fun, have a conversation, talk a lot about different ideas, things that we're coming up with. But the overarching challenge of this week was there's no big bad guy, and so there has to be some greater something that's happening. We already have a hint of that, because if we look at our players or our player characters that we've generated, we have 2 right now. My isolation gave me insight into a great evil that only I can destroy, and we come over to Nike Adedes. I suffer awful visions of a coming disaster and will do anything to prevent it. Okay, so we've connected those dots. Well, Gurdon here was recruited by his brother, his fellow middle-aged male orc, in order to help accomplish this goal. And in so doing, he forsook his paladin oaths and learned to study under this warlock that has various necromantic powers, which is it's like an odd, fun mix of life and death, because he's a fae. His patron is the Archfey, yet he has necromantic powers that has kind of bled over into his brother Gurdon as an oathbreaker. We also have Alexandria, who is a criminal, right? She's a charlatan, and she has since been trained to be a wizard of some kind, abjuration specialty. And we were flavoring, well, what if she's the apprentice to an abjurer wizard who's training her, but this abjurer wizard is actually the secret, like the head, the shadow prime minister of the Thieves Guild, of at least one of the Thieves Guild in the region. And he's doing so to work it from the inside to be sort of like a symbiotic not really parasitic, but like a symbiotic entity that's guiding the Thieves Guild to be more what's the word? Benign, right? It's still thieves that does this, but he's working from within in order to do that. Well, so he's raising this young prodigy. I think she was only 15 years old. So he's raising her and inserting her into the Thieves Guild through because she already is a charlatan. She rubs elbows with the scum and villainy of the cantina of Mos Eisley cantina. And she's going to go in. Now, she doesn't really know this. If we want to stick to this lore, she's not aware of her mentor's involvement. But this is something that she's undertaking, and that's part of the reason why we chose, of all the regions, we actually have Fallfire Plains. Because the big thing going on is there's a war between rival thieves guilds. Also, there's a wild magic zone. And right now, including our fourth character, we have a magic user, a magic user, a magic user, and a magic user. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting for sure. And so ultimately, our goal could be something along the lines of goals. Discover the cause of the war and end it. Discover the great evil, or let's see, how did we put this? A coming disaster. Whoops. There we go. As foreseen. This could be an external threat. We have a big internal threat, right? This is the calamity facing all 5 regions put together that make the Fallfire Plain. Or if maybe this is a symptom and not the disease. Maybe this is the disease. Maybe this is a symptom of the disease, because when you have thieves guilds that are warring with each other, thieves guilds have quite the habit of accumulating magical items and artifacts and employing them against each other. And, well, 'tis what it is. Maybe someone messes with something in a battle of attrition that they ought not to mess with, and it conjures a great and unstoppable storm. Because, oopsie, the button on the magic wand broke and it's leaking out power. I don't know, something like that. These are all prompts. What are the ultimate goals of the campaign? We can also consider, as we're making dungeons, locales, and encounters, we can put out the fires in each region, leading to the end of the greater calamity, right? Look, each region has something going on here. Now, do we have to bring a definitive end? I mean, how do you know if you're out of an economic depression? We measure that if we have 2 quarters of GDP growth. That's 6 months. Can we do that in the course of a campaign? Yeah, we can. It certainly takes time. Can we expect a group of PCs to do that? It's possible. You know, you find an ancient dragon's hoard and suddenly, 1 million gold pieces is flushed into the economy. That could end an economic depression. Something is invented, or something that's suppressing the economy is overcome. So if we go to each region and we put out 5 little fires, then we have addressed maybe the causes of what is getting our thieves guilds all stirred up. And so this will settle only when these 5 other little fires are put out. A scandal that threatens powerful families. Could this be a part of a rival thieves guild war? Oh, of course. Blackmail? Bribery? Force? Is this the game Diplomacy? Maybe resolving this scandal is can earn a favor, can earn information. Well, look, we have a ruler that's respected, fair, and just, but apparently, some things are happening. And if you're really in, like, there is a wild magic zone that might take place, broadly, throughout the region here. Though perhaps if you're in one of these neighboring areas, there's a lesser effect. But if you're in this region and you're in very close proximity to the impact site, that effect might be escalated somehow. So can we run an investigation part of the campaign that we have magic users? But hey, guess what? Weaknesses are often great opportunities to do things other ways. Can we actually use eye contact and body language and not cast friends or alter self in order to get information? Because let's say that we do. Alter self may suddenly be permanent, you look that way, or other things along those lines. There is a suspected vampire infestation in the salt flats over here. As well, there's a field of petrified soldiers or other creatures. We have a lot of things that we can work with now in order to make an open world that has all of these different things happening at the same time. Which fires do we want to expose to our PCs in order to have them address? And of course, we have a fifth character that we're going to roll up tomorrow as we continue this conversation as well. Who can bring something else? Maybe it's another discovery. Which, keep in mind as well, we come over here. Here's our latest character. Our discovery can be separate from this bond. There could be something else that, per the discussion of discovery in being a hermit. Right, we come down here. Sorry, I'm going to scroll quickly. The quiet seclusion of your extended hermitage gave you access to a unique and powerful discovery. The exact nature of this revelation depends on the nature of your seclusion. It might be a great truth about the cosmos, the deities, the powerful beings of the outer planes, or the forces of nature. It could be a sight that no one else has ever seen. SITE is in a locale. You might have uncovered a fact that has long been forgotten, or unearthed some relic of the past that could rewrite history. DuckTales woo-woo. It might be information that would be damaging to the people who or consigned you to exile, and hence the reason your return to society. Well, why were we exiled? Okay, we right here, Hermit number 3. I was exiled for a crime I didn't commit. Could this person have been set up by the Thieves Guilds? Possibly. Could they be outsiders? Almost like we're flavoring the brothers here to be. That they're actually from Kandor, and they've come into the region? Could be. It's almost a shame I didn't get the opportunity to play in this. It might be built up slow, but I'm wishing some GMs could use this as a guideline, because I don't get the impression that majority of GMs give their campaign this much thought. In terms of, this setup isn't necessarily the cause and effect, the strings and dominoes you're talking about, Derek. But is that what you're saying? That, what can be done? Like, not all fights have to end in the bloody murder of your opponent in order to, get experience points or a milestone. I was explaining that I don't have murderous people at my games for Curse of Strahd, but a revenant showed up as they were leaving a particular area, and the sibling said, "Get in the cart. We need to go. This is dangerous." And how did they escape the revenant that was chasing after him? That was a victory, and I was very sure to explain that to him. You don't just have to kill everything that's in your way in order to feel victorious or that you've won a situation. No, but the PCs matter is the biggest one. What? Okay, the PCs matter in that the PCs have agency within the campaign world. Derek, is that what you're talking about? Also, that the PCs matter in the game. They do matter to the world. They're their own very powerful corner of the world, Bobicus. And when you have 4 corners to a room, you have an entire room that you can fill. I mean, we have 5 members of the party, but you get the analogy, right? Each is a corner, each is a viewpoint. And so if they're surrounding the world is coming to view. It's your number one pet peeve. Bobicus, since you're the one who issued this challenge about no BBEGs, would you be open to amending that also to say that there should be no maguffins either? Okay, that's fair. I presume so. So when we look at something like Discovery, it says you might have unearthed a relic of the past. If we do unearth a relic of the past, let's say we want to pursue this, then it's out of his hands. It was turned over. It exists, but it's not the one ring that guides them all, sort of a thing. Though I think there's a lot of other things here. A fact that's been long forgotten, or some dirt on something. This could even be sort of like this character, he can catalyze the adventure if we go for the many fires approach. We have to put out all the mini fires that are causing the region to burn. And if we do it that way, then we're going to take care of the bigger problem. And so that means that we could have our catalyst here be Helos, and we pursue from there. But anyway, so remember, here we go. Here's our 5. Here's our 5. And broadly, these are all goals. Because look, if there's tension or rivalry between tieflings and halflings, you want to talk about 2 races that can make very good rogues, and therefore thieves, charlatans. Tieflings are great face rogues, con men, charlatans, other criminals. Halflings, now, while it does focus on stout, they even stout make really good thieves. This could have, so maybe the tension or rivalry is because there's a rival between thieves guilds. But we can approach suppressing. Here, we can even put 2 methods of winning for this goal alone. Solve the racial tensions. Whoop. Or ameliorate the guilds, because we can approach this from either end. Do we have a pineapple pen or a pen pineapple? It's the same thing, but different. Yeah, a minor MacGuffin, or a little, like, if the boss of the whatever, they come to the boss of the Thieves Guild in this region, and he's like, yes, I'm the boss of the Thieves Guild, and I'm a bad, unrepentant guy, you should kill me. You could kill him. Is that going to settle the region? No, it will have a ripple effect, but he's not the kingpin. Even if he claims to be, he's not the kingpin. So remember, by the way, dungeon here doesn't just have to be a dungeon in a traditional sense. A dungeon can be a confined area that a confined area that whatever. It's just a contained adventure that once the adventurers enter, it may be difficult for them to leave, if not impossible, until they reach the end or they reach some kind of a goal. That could be our dungeons, or some of them, as we're conceptualizing for this campaign in this area of the world. Any conflict between two sides, there are 4 victories. End the conflict by promoting the victory of one side, the other, neither, or both. Yes. So I think we can succinctly use the underpants gnome logic of solve racial tension, ameliorate the guilds, question mark, profit. Yay! I get what you're saying, though, Bob, because I want to have a little bit of humor. I'll still keep profit because, hey, because profit. This does come into play. How? How could profit come into play? Well, here. Let's take a look. Oh no, Derek, are you there, Derek? I was trying to use you as an immediate example. Derek, come back. Oh, is Macabre not even here? Oh, you are. Okay. Derek. It's fine. Don't worry. Humor me. I'm dueling you. With an exclamation point, except. Okay. We just made an example of a possible alternate win con around profit. How could this be? I'll tell you what. Hey, Raven. Hopefully, have we been kind of pounding away at your writer's block, Raven? No, don't worry about it, Derek. I called you out on a whim because yours was the last name I saw. Raven, I'll pick on you here for a second. You hear? Yup. Raven is going on an adventure in the plains. Well, I'll tell you what. While Raven's doing that, Bobicus. Bobicus, are you here? Tune in, Bobicus. Ooh. Oh, and Raven's here too. Okay, got it. That's fine. Hey, you have advantage with a +2, 5, and 10. You got that goblin, and you win 75 EXP. All right, so Babacus, if this is a win con, I just died to a gnome lord of all things. I guess that's better. Is dying to a gnome lord or a meme lord? You know, which one's better? You have a particular mix you drew in earlier for Curse of Strahd, but I want to perform the Taroka deck. But since they may come past the location, I need to make sure it's all set. If you need it, Derek, if you look in safer work picks, depending on how you wanted to do it, I believe I have some of the Taroka cards in there. I can always repost it if not. But if you did want Taroka cards, I can repost it in there if you wanted to do something with them. But anyway, so Babacus, if one of our win conditions is profit, I mean, let's just not hold this over as an Underpants Gnome South Park reference. Given, let's see if we're on the same page, because we tend to be, Babacus, you and I. What could be a win con for the party if this is one way that they could actually do this, given what we have going on here? And you know what, Raven, anyone else, Derek, if any of you are seeing a connection, feel free to shout it out. I was just kind of shouting out names to, it's that little bit of like a teacher or a professor in me. I was doing that not that long ago with an economics class. Hey, Raven, if you want to share elements of your story with us, we will. You know, if you say, "Hey, I'm really hung up on X and Y. How can we get through it?" We'll shoot a Z right at that clog and blow it out. Okay, sure. They can all just make, you know, a death pact and eat what is that in Mockingjay or whatever? They ate the berries. Yeah, I suppose that is one way out. That's true. They just realize, look, why are we even here? Blech. Yes, okay, so ultimately that is true, Babacus. And there are ways that perhaps they can do that more quickly than others. For instance, let's say we want a little bit of some Casino Royale action. This is known throughout the region. It is known for gambling. Gambling is huge. There are big casinos. All right, so yeah, I guess that is a special table consideration, Derek. Now, are any of the particular areas, are they known themselves for gambling? No, but the entire region of Fallfire Plains is. You can argue wild magic is itself a gamble. It seemingly is intrinsic. It just kind of gets under your skin here. Yes. Who lives in a croft under the church? Doru, vampire spawn. So the casinos may be owned by the Thieves Guild. That is true, or they could be owned by just local nobles or rich people or whatever. But look here. This region's known for decadence. Ooh. This region's known for strong drink. Ooh. This region's known for godlessness. Ooh. Uh-oh. Are we getting maybe thematic casinos? Are we getting maybe dancers and brothels, pillow houses, stuff like that as part of their casinos here? Are we known for maybe pounding down drinks and winning bets on who has a higher constitution? Something like that? Are we getting just, straight secular, just by the book, it's mathematical and numerical? Artists and writers, I'm sure we could form this into some kind of a gambling trait. There are casinos. Yeah, so we can do something like this, right? So we have profit. Let's break this out. So there's two techniques, right? We have the big heist, right? They pull a heist in order to either pull one over on the Thieves Guild, or even if it's independent of the Thieves Guild, how are you going to get enough money to be able to buy influence, to just buy your way to victory in this campaign if we want to keep it an open world? You run heists, brother. Also, if any of you are Star Trek The Next Generation fans, do you remember that one Next Generation episode where they're stuck in a book, and the book's about a gambling hotel, and Data is like a foreigner Frenchman who comes in, and in the book he's supposed to beat the house, like he buys the casino because he's won so much money from the casino. What do we have? Oh, goodness golly gracious. Can we do riverboat casinos? Yes, we can. Can we do just regular, casinos? Yes, we can. Can we have a Las Vegas out here in the Salt Flats? Yes, we can. And we can have Atlantic City. What do you want? Yeah, Raven, that was a really funny episode. I really... Well, it was supposed to be bad, right? Even in the episode, they say that this book is garbage. What is this? Because it was some cheesy book an astronaut had before he got sucked into like an alien hologram, whatever. All right, putting it that way, the episode was bad but funny, but it was based on a bad book, and so I'll forgive it. But yeah. So if they wanted to, if they just want to buy off, so let's say you want to defeat the well, maybe not directly the racial tension. You want to ameliorate the guilds. Pay off one side, pay off the other side, make them both broke, or pay them both off. Kill one side, kill the other side. Don't kill either, kill both. Destroy them with fire. We have a fire cleric. Do you want to run heists? Run heists. Do you want to go into a casino and run the place and own a casino and thereby use proceeds to spawn economic development? Which, hey, look at this. Even if you only do it once, if you don't do this in all the regions as a general way to solve the misery of the region, what can help the economic depression here in the breadbasket area? Here's the breadbasket area. You give them a big cash infusion. Well, you can win cash everywhere else and come in here and dump it in the coffers if you want. Dumb question that has nothing to do with this. How would you pronounce the elf name of Esye? Probably as Esye. Depending on the AE, that can come across as... So you have like ether or aether. So it's an e. It's like a soft e. Esye. Otherwise, you could go Esye. Instead of the z, because what is English? What even is English? Esye. We could add in an extra emphasis on a different syllable. Esye. 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 Derek says, well, I'm reminded of Frank Underwood. Money is the McMansion that starts falling apart in 10 years. Power is the old stone building that stands for centuries. I cannot respect someone who does not know the difference. Bobicus, you know how criminal organizations do very obvious charity to sort of make people less likely to report on them? Yes. Raven says, renaming a character in the story that I've had in my head for years. Okay. So, Esye or Esye are seemingly coming across. Maybe you can bring down the guilds by taking over charity operations, sort of like a PR campaign. Yeah. Hey, you're benefiting the orphans? Well, we're going to take over an orphanage because that's easier than a crime racket. And suddenly we're going to promise the world that we can partially deliver on up front. And suddenly, I don't know, an idea catches on. That's another way to handle the tension that's going on here. So really, this can move... Actually, this can move up here. Like, totally. This becomes its own point. Solve the racial tension. We can come up with ideas, I'm sure. The diplomacy. We can almost just say, we're going to try diplomacy. And diplomacy is a toolbox. That's what we've named our Dremel, is diplomacy. So we can bring down the guilds by taking over charity operations, sort of like a PR campaign. Oh, Ravenstar's going into the plains. Is it a rabbit? No, a bandit gang leaps out. You need an 8 or greater. And Ravenstar falls on his or her own sword. And the players can all be Batman trying to fix the city with Wayne money. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, hey, that's a valid technique too. You can also have the old-fashioned type Godfather figure coming in, earns respect of the neighborhood city, and circumnavigating the law and politics. This could very well be a campaign over time. This doesn't have to be, hey, let's pound it out in 3 months and call it a deal. I found a wand of wishing, and I don't know the names of enough objects, says Bobicus. Derek says could also have the old-fashioned. Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the circumnavigating. That is true, Derek. Bobicus found a wand of wishing. Ravenstar is getting a res please after falling on the sword. Hey, a female goblin wizard. That actually sounds kind of cool. Derek says I always love the old school versus new school themes and underground crime operations. Yeah, that could make for a dynamic. But I have a cursed +5 rope. Robe now. Oh, did I leave my... I left my drink out in the other room. Shame on me. That's fine. Now, Shadzar, oh, come on. Shadzar was kind of messing around with the idea that maybe there's a great old one, right? We're kind of saying that there's like a Sahagin Dagon cult going on, which I believe was in the peninsula, right? A new cult is seeking converts. It's by the sea. We've already had this new cult of Sahagin pop up in another area. Maybe they're popping up here too. So if not great old one... External supernatural threat. The Great Old One is not this overarching invading empire. Although... let's face it, this is another option that we can present our players. They might see Imperial operatives because they've been peppered all around. They get all this information. What do they want to do with it? Do they want to sell out the region to the Empire? And this is the inroad to Mesotopia? Because the Empire sure as heck is going to unify everyone inside. All 3 of the magic items ended up... Oh. Well, now, so are you doing that for your first reading, Derek? Or are you doing... Like, are you going to keep that for the reading in front of your players? Or is that the backup in case they don't do anything? I'll get my drink in a bit, Derek. Don't worry. Oh, come on. I don't want this automatic formatting. I guess that could be repeated by great old ones, some sort of external supernatural threat. But maybe it's coming out of the wild magic area because that's where this meteor fell. Well, it's where the cards lay. I just feel bad. Not a lot of magic in Barovia, which usually isn't a problem, but I'm starting to get concerned. If you give clues that it's in the castle, Derek, there's nothing that's really keeping the party from going into the castle. It's right there. The village of Barovia it's not at the foot of the castle, but it's just up the road a piece. There's nothing saying maybe they can't dip in there on a bit of a Tomb Raider adventure if they really wanted to. That's up to you, though, and how you wanted to run it or describe it to them. Derek says, yeah, but Lovecraftian influence is to show that it is not just more powerful. It's a redefining of power, that everything you do is nothing but raindrops. Yeah, because, again, we don't want a BBEG. We don't really want a Cthulhu, a Dagon, it's not Imhotep, Nyarlathotep. We don't actually want a manifested old one. It should just be that there's this cult, this corrupting influence, this alien logic that is starting to turn the locals, kind of a thing. And that could be behind the rivalry of the Thieves Guild. You have mad whispers floating into the ears of people with a tendency towards crime, violence, or even murder. Hashtag just saying. We can come up with a couple of these. So we have what would be the right word here? If we go with the put out the fires route, what if they foster the strengths in each region, solve each region's calamity, address its weird locale? So, for instance, if they go through the region and they choose to go the more supernatural route, there's a battlefield where the lingering fog occasionally assumes humanoid forms. If they go through this dungeon or this encounter with the forms and the fog and they solve it, maybe they put it to rest, if only for a little while longer. And they do so elsewhere, and suddenly the flare-up of supernatural heebie-jeebies, for lack of a better term, across the lands makes everyone's goosebumps go back down and life can continue on normally again. Well, the point I meant was that this is not something you just beat. The whole horror of Lovecraft... Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's inevitable, unstoppable, and no one is willing to acknowledge the truth rather than think you're insane coming to grips. To quote extra credits, the moment you give Cthulhu a health bar, you have missed the whole point. Yes, I do agree. And I don't think we should give... We should make a manifestation of some great old one. Maybe agents or this cult, right? This Sahagin cult. I call it a Dagon cult just for ease of reference. But instead of a great old one, it could just be... It could be the Sahagin or the Kuo-Toa or both. Maybe there's a war in the water. Maybe there are Nereids and there's this whole underwater, under the sea empire going on. And if that's the case, that could even be something else, right? Whether that's bargain with outside countries or we even, right? This is like the evil party. Evil party might choose that route. Evil party might choose that route. Evil party might choose this route. Let's break in, pull a heist, and steal everyone's money, and we're going to spend it how we want. Sahagin / someone else. And by bringing this powerful unified force, we can open up economic channels, war channels, things like that. Fair. It's just at that point it keeps your whole no BBEG, because for it to qualify, you'd need for it to be as beatable as the final challenge. Well, so if it's a concept we can overcome, or we can say, look, here's an influence trying to take over a part of the region or several regions, and so beating back that influence isn't necessarily the BBEG, that's just one of the ultimate goals in order to win the campaign. Yeah. I think we're on the same page, Derek, and I'm sorry if it sounds like I wasn't resonating, but I think we're going here. Oh, King. Hey, King, welcome. And yet you can give narrative significance to the nihilistic inevitability of defeat by having you beat the HP out of something. Oh, King has been lurking. Well, remember, we're playing in the playground of the halflings and tieflings, King. So, I know there's probably a lot of HP bars that you would take some nihilistic glee in reducing down for the goal of 100%. You're going to go for a 100% good run in the realm. But if you've been lurking, hopefully that some of these suggestions for the campaign, like the dungeons, right? A dungeon could be a casino heist. We could set it on a riverboat if we wanted to. We could set it in an actual physical casino. Something like that. That is a dungeon, right? It's a contained environment. Yes, you can ultimately get out if you wanted to, but you're really incentivized not to. And a riverboat has the qualities of a dungeon. Something you can steal, something you're going to miss, people you can talk to, something that will kill you, as we go down that list that Bobicus had provided. Dark Wolf, Fall Fires 11. Well, you know what, Dark Wolf? If we get a Dragonborn tomorrow, we have 2 parties of 5 that are sort of like mirrors of each other. And we just got to have some sort of like a Charlie to the Angels to make an 11th. And we'll just get the we'll get the Kandor party over, because they're gonna we have just as we had with the Kandor attitude, a half elf, a half orc, and a halfling in that order. If we get a Dragonborn tomorrow, cats and dogs living together, it's mass hysteria. So King just wants to call down a King wants to just call down, whoops, I'll be revving up some AoE spells for this one. King is for the sovereignty. Yeah, but it's very selective. It's almost... Actually, it's not even purity. It's just everyone but this carve-out. Everyone else is cool, but the shorties and the people with tails. Which, by the way... oh... So we can switch to 3-5 so I can abuse that tactical nuke build. Oh, is that like that one... isn't that like... It's a wizard spell. It takes a year to cast. And it does like 100 D10 damage in a 2-mile radius or something like that. Yeah, I know there was some kind of an insane wizard spell that it took... I think it took literally a year, or... That was kind of a big thing in that edition, a year and a day, in order to be able to cast it. And it was it was crazy. It's almost like the peasant rail cannon out of 4th edition, which the peasant rail cannon was really fun. I never ran it, but oh, you can have some fun with rules as written. Oh, so King's going for an any % run? Oh, any ex-humans like Tiefling. See, so we have Exterminatus here. King is going to try be the emperor of humanity. Although, I don't know, you really do seem to like elves, and I guess you're at least neutral towards dwarves. Elves you definitely seem to favor. I don't know if it's, you know, they have those ears that just kind of give like a fun little twitch, and it sends your heart a pitter-patter. But yeah, King, what is your stance on dwarves? Quicker solution, place a bag of holding inside a bag of holding. There's, oh, jeez. Oh, hi. There you go. Now just make one that's ballista-sized, and you have like a tactical nuke, Derek. Oh, come on, not on the keyboard. It wasn't that year-long spell. There was some exploit where you could cast Detect City. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it was like Detect City, and then you could, like, impose a spell throughout the entire range. And you have a feat that added plus 2d6, so you would essentially kill the peasantry of a small nation. Yeah, that's true. It was like a frost spell or something, if I recall correctly. I know what you're talking about, King. And by the way, I don't think King is for undead either, but undead can make excellent early computers. Right? If a zombie really only understands a simple command, and you say raise your hand when that one raises its hand, and you tell the other one raise your hand if that one raises its hand, you can fill a room. We were calculating it out, but you could fill like a cavern, and you could have an undead computer do calculations for you because of the binary nature of the commands. So at the end of the chain, depending on the undead that had its hand raised, you would get an accurate output of whatever you're trying to calculate. And you could do so forever. There's no batteries to charge. And so that's why necromancers are especially devious, because they can plot and they could do advanced math and other calculations with their undead. You were called pretty. Yeah. Do you accept this? You should show everyone your pretty face. Hey, what's over here? There we go. King says dwarves are soulless automatons like insects. You can farm them for some level of free mining, but they're not very useful beyond that. Deep rot. Oh, is that a name for that concept instead of deep thought? That could be it. I know that as a play group, we were talking about the concept of an undead. We were talking about the concept of an undead computer. Geez, this was years ago. But effectively, here, I'll open it up. Yeah, yep, this looks like it was it. Yep, that looks like that's it, King. So that's a fun concept. It's kind of a side note to what we're doing here, but you can have some fun with stuff like that. And actually, the it should be in here. There we go. And there's also the fun of the peasant railgun. So fun stuff anyway. So I mean, we can keep Exterminatus, right, if we have an evil party. But here we've discussed how we can go, and tomorrow we can refine these ideas. We can still refine it tonight, but for sure tomorrow we might even be able to give rise to some of these locations. And really, this is now just presenting the world with the context that we're giving our imaginary players of. We're going to describe the region to you. It is up to you to decide how you want to go about interacting with this world. You have, whatever, we can set an artificial deadline of, whatever, Majora's Mask was 3 days. We might need longer than that. We instill some kind of a deadline before something big happens, and we say, go to town. Hey, Darkwolf finished Helos. Cool. King is continuing his anti-dwarven stance. The problem with dwarven art is that they are essentially just they make statues of themselves and aren't capable of expressing any higher form of concept than their programming or structure. So there isn't any real difference between them and nanites that gather material and store it in their own image. So then, so King, where does this leave the elves then? As it seems that you do favor the elves, and that is an opinion that is not too well. On TG, even if it's only a meme, elves aren't popular. They're a dark shed full of radioactive tools. Oh, hey, looky. Come on. So, oh, come on, don't do that. All right, let's just bring this back over here. And I'll bring this tab over here. Okay, there we go. So Darkwolf has been sketching the character that we made earlier this evening. Very cool. I appreciate you doing that. Well, we can make sure to put that in. Yeah, praise the sun. Why would I have a bias about a race of intellectually superior beings that live longer, produce less waste, and spend less time lazing about? Hey, now, they can spend more time over the course of their 750 years lazing about than a lot of others. Dwarves are quite industrious, and on top of that, I mean, I don't know about your feelings of the Drow or whatnot, but yep, that was my impression, Raven. It seems to work too. Yep. So then King is humans, elves, and presumably half-elves? Or are humans and elves supposed to, stand in their own corners? Oh, we don't talk about Drow and PG-13 settings, and wood elves need to burn them. Darn hippies. The hippie shake. Oh, it's the hippie shake. All right, so high elves and humans can stay in King's Kingdom. Oh, all right. So, yep, not even not even half elves are allowed. Oh my. Well, one day, King, we will make we'll make Kingsland here, and it will be actually we already did make a Kingsland. I don't know if you were on for it, but we ended up we randomly generated a town. Well, so it was a place where elves and humans were allowed to mingle. So that's kind of against your plan, but we actually did make a random town that had that as an aspect. Yeah, King mentions Drow in a PG-13 setting, and Derek's like, what? Oh, that's wonderful. The Drow? Ruh-roh, King? Who are we going to sacrifice? You all are crazy. Oh, gosh. Oh, goodness. Sorry about that. All right. So we have a lot of... we've set a good base for victory conditions. Things to think about. At some point, you and King are going to end up killing each other. Well, yeah, that's how evil works. Evil wins when the last, the last person who betrays is the survivor, and then of course the cycle repeats itself. I mean, I can't say too many bad things about Drow after. Oh, that's right. King did have a tryst with Lulth. He went on an adventure in the Underdark and didn't quite make it back up to the surface. And it won't be epic. It's going to be a slap fight, and we trip over each other and end up with broken necks at the base of the stairs in compromising positions. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's right, King. Oh, jeez. All right, so here is Fallfire Plains, right? That we made last night. We fleshed out the regions with random traits. We linked it together through logic and storytelling. And now as we're setting up our dungeons, locales, and encounters for the campaign, for the Saturday tie-together campaign, here are some ideas on ways to not have a MacGuffin or a major MacGuffin that the story absolutely relies upon, or a big bad evil guy, like the villain of the campaign. These are all different ways in case there's a couple newer people, I think, who've joined us in chat here. These are ways to approach a campaign and still have victory and still achieve goals and increasing people's wealth, benevolence, levels of education, how to put out the fires across a realm and still come out as a winner, as a succeeder, someone who's gone and they've experienced a lot of different things, casino heists, thieves wars, a great old one influence, all of these different plagues and famine, right? If you want to go for the calamity routes, a scandal threatens powerful families. There's a suspected vampire infestation. A new cult seeks converts. There's also, play to the known fors. Foster those strengths. Make the peninsula area even more decadent, and really hit its strength so it is a shining beacon of decadence to the entirety of Mesotopia. And then make sure that you hit up the trade for this, whatever this one particular good is in the Salt Flats. Well, the Salt Flats are kind of next to the decadence, and so maybe across the bay, I don't know, we have decadence, and very specifically, instead of so we have so decadence, right? The capital here is kind of a summary of the others, right? Strong drink, godlessness, artists and writers, part of hedonism bot, if we go Futurama, and even education. It is all coming together. So, well, King, I know you're fixed on it. Oh, jeez. Derek. Well, that is very big of you, Derek. Hey, Huinami. Which class is best for a professional wrestler? Monk? Not even necessarily. Well, I mean, King kind of has a point, but it itself, well, yeah, right. Entangle as a spell. What you can do is come over here and Way of the Open Hand Monk does give you trips and pushes and things like that. That is one way to go. If we come down here to customization, you can take some feats that can also act as ways to simulate wrestling. Because any character can grapple. That's a freebie in the PHB. What do you want to do with it? Well, you can take Charger. If you use your action to dash, you can use a bonus action to make one melee weapon attack or to shove a creature. If you move at least 10 feet in a straight line immediately before taking this action, you can either gain a +5 bonus to the attack's damage roll, or push the target up to 10 feet away from you. You can also go... you can go athlete, and particularly when you're prone, standing up uses only 5 feet of your movement instead of half. If you're going to end up on the ground, whether it's, you know, for martial arts or wrestling, this could allow you to get back up quickly and get out of the way. It's like a kip up move. Grappler as a feat. You've developed the skills necessary to hold your own in close quarters grappling. You gain the following benefits. You have advantage on attack rolls against a creature you're grappling. You can use your action to try and pin a creature grappled by you. To do so, make another grapple check. If you succeed, you and the creature are both restrained until the grapple ends, and creatures that are one size larger than you don't automatically succeed on checks to escape your grapple. All you need is a strength 13 or higher. You can make a muscle wizard. And I mean by that, you know, at least a wizard with a score of 13 or higher, and just take Grappler as a feat. You can also go for... Lucky would be interesting. Martial Adept. If you're not running a martial fighter, because a martial fighter can also make a good wrestler. And not just the Watteau monk. You have martial training that allows you to perform... So this could go to really anyone. But you have a battle master fighter that would be really good with its different maneuvers for this sort of a thing. But here's also Martial Adept. You learn 2 maneuvers of your choice from among those available. If you already have superiority dice, you gain 1 more. Otherwise, you have 1, which is a D6, and you use that for your maneuvers. Mobile. Your speed increases, and especially when you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks for the rest of the turn, whether you hit or not. So that means you can come up, take a swing, and whether you hit or not, they can't try and grapple or get you again. So you can run around and try and chip damage or whatnot. There is also... Savage attacks could thematically be that. And also Tavern Brawler could be interesting too. If you're already not a monk. You're proficient with improvised weapons and unarmed strikes. They hit for D4 damage. And when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon on your turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple the target instead of having it be your action. So you can deck them for a D4 and grapple them in the same as part of the same turn. So King said cast Entangle. Druid could snake and probably out-wrestle most people. Derek says, it's why I do a heal manager based on Paul Heyman. And King says it'll be like this but worse and provides a link. Yep, that's pretty much it, says Derek. Hui, Variant Human would probably be the best race to do that kind of thing. In so much that it is going to give you... a feat right off the bat, and so you don't have to sacrifice an ASI in order to take it. But you want high strength to grapple? Dragonborn, half orc. That's off the top of my head. But in 5th edition, a half orc can be an amazing wizard with a 20 intelligence. At 6th level. No, 8th level. I'm sorry, 8th level. So, how quickly do you want it? Yeah, Variant Human will get it. Will get that kind of a build more quickly, but any race over time can be good at it. A grappler with improvised weapon proficiency. ECW. Does that answer your question, Hui? Also, depending, like improvised weapons, if you want, tables, ladders, chairs. Also, doing something like Weapon Master could be interesting because you get 4 weapons of your choice. And if you want something kind of interesting, if you count this as wrestling, you can take... Oh, here we go. You can take a net as one of the actions. A large or smaller creature hit by a net is restrained until it's freed. A net has no effect on creatures that are formless or creatures that are huge or larger. A creature can use its action to make a DC 10 strength check, freeing itself or another creature within reach on a success, dealing 5 slashing damage to the net. Also frees the creature without harming it, ending the effect. When you use an action, bonus action, or reaction to attack with a net, you can make only 1 attack regardless of the number of attacks you can normally make. And so if you take weapon training and you're proficient in a net, then maybe you get a stronger net if you don't like the stats on what they are showing for like a hempen rope net. You can also get net for free, which, by the way, if you want something like a luchador wrestler, come over here to background and come down here to acolyte, entertainer. All right, you can take things like tumbler, juggler, storyteller, or singer, right? What's the wrestler's gimmick? You give him entertainer, and you come down here to variant, the gladiator. A gladiator is as much an entertainer as any minstrel or circus performer, trained to make the arts of combat into a spectacle the crowd can enjoy. This kind of flashy combat is your entertainer routine, though you might also have some skills as a tumbler or actor. Using your by popular demand feature, you can find a place to perform in any place that features combat for entertainment, perhaps a gladiatorial arena or a secret pit fighting club. You can replace the musical instrument in your equipment package with an inexpensive but unusual weapon, such as a trident or a net. So... alright, if you want traditional character sheets, Huinami, type in !char sheet. CHARSHEET. If you want to use the revised ones that we've been using for the past 2 weeks, these ones that have a lot, it's redone and it's arguably a little bit easier since a lot of the information's on the first page. I'll give you the link. Oh, well, I'd argue PDFs aren't necessarily, well, for me, they're not convenient. I actually prefer having the physical ones. They're convenient for what I do here with you all, because it's more difficult to have a camera looking down on a book and me going, oh, it's here somewhere. Instead, I can just click on it, but hey, we all have different personalities and technical styles. These are PDFs that I've acquired. You can purchase them, you can find them. If you look, you can find them. I'll leave it at that. Oh, yeah, you miss spiked chains and spiked shields and spiked gauntlets and... Bobicus tried dungeon crawl. Oh, that's right. Bobicus has been playing NetHack in his browser. Your stats character gen can provide you bonuses as well, and very little stops you from being any sort of bizarre combination of stats. Yep. Frankie won't like it if you take a net. Oh, Shads are coming in. Wah, wah, wah. Should I read the NetHack wiki? I'm still unspoiled on a lot of things, but at this point I'm really going to figure it out on my own? Question mark. Side note, Hui, if you do like the concept, I demand he wears a tabard that says the Job Squad. Yep, and King has given some good advice. Well, so hopefully that helps, Way. I got to get up and take a break. I will be back in just a little bit, so jam out. If you have more questions, we can do more brainstorming on our characters. We can do more brainstorming on, in fact, what might be good is if we end up completing at least one random encounter table in order to get a feel for what we want. And we can even base that on things that are here in the DMG. So, okay. I will be righteth backeth.